Hey, what's up? Welcome to a new episode of Movie Schmovie. It's episode 494, my favorite, the palindrome episodes.
hmm
My name is Steve.
hmm
I'm one of the co-hosts of the show, and as always, I'm joined by.
Right.
Father says no trespassers. And John.
Good.
Going on, fellas? How's it going?
Just glad to be back.
Going well? Good. Yeah, me too, man. Good to see you both. Um, got a lot to talk about, I think.
I
mean,
feel like
saw a
we
lot
do.
of
I feel
a
like
lot
right
of
now we're kind of
things.
like, I feel like
I
I'm
think
raring to go.
I'm ready to go.
Mm.
I'm like, what do we need to chit chat? I think we got a lot to talk about for this
Yeah, I
episode.
think
So
so
let's
too.
just get into the required viewing. Ronald, you got this week, so take it away.
Oh yeah. So I
Fit
chose
perfectly in between them. Sorry, John. John.
that is a
Uh,
crazy scene, by the
that's also I'm just like glad because he's like perfectly between them. Like
like you're trying to stop this
yeah,
fight.
he's like,
Hey
get
guys,
your
break it
finger out
up.
of his face.
Break it up.
How hard did
Sorry.
I work to find this frame? A little too hard.
Yes.
A little too hard. Because
Hey,
it's very
hey.
fast. It's very
Time well
fast.
spent. Time well spent. Sorry.
Yeah, so I chose the 2026 action film The Furious, directed by Kenji Tanigaki. And this is, man, it's one of the wildest movies I've ever seen. I wanted to highlight it mostly because this movie made a total of $500,000 total
Like domestic or global?
domestic, from
Damn.
what I understand. Yeah, domestic, from what I understand. I don't know what it made global, but yeah, it was a flop. Unfortunately.
That's
And so
crazy.
what I chose, I really wanted to highlight this movie because it was one of those movies that swept me off of my feet. It felt like something that kind of felt like The Raid.
Yeah.
And it had a story that kind of hit home. We people have kids, and watching these weird scenarios where people are kidnapping kids, putting them in all sorts of scenarios.
Put, like you mean like putting them in a
Like
trash bag and then throwing the trash bag
Put them,
20 feet
yeah,
up in
throw
the
'em-
air?
yeah,
into the back of a truck
I mean,
in the first 3 minutes.
yes,
Well, but it's the craziest combination of
Oh
like,
my
oh,
God.
this is like a child trafficking ring. This is really
yes,
grim. But then it's like boop doo cartoon violence. It's an interesting
yeah,
tonal
yeah.
mix of like almost like a Jackie Chan style kind of light action,
Yeah.
almost like silly time action mixed with really grim things happening.
It's so funny you say that, man. Like I think that's what separates this movie from The Raid. Like there's some silliness to it, like almost to the point where like I felt sorry for one of the traffickers somehow toward the end of the movie. I'm like, how much sympathizing
You're
with the
talking about
trafficker?
the guy that says father says no trespassing.
Father says no trespassing.
Yeah, no,
the
no.
bald dude.
They don't ever make you like him, but he has that thing of there's a relatable. I mean, you can't say he's an innocent because he's helping kidnap these kids for God knows what reason.
Yes.
But the fact that he's trying to avenge his dad does give him this like
Yes.
this or his supposed dad, his boss, But like it gives him this I don't know, a human side or some kind of a thing that you can root for him momentarily against the finger biting psychotic bad
Yes.
guy who's like
Well,
definitely the biggest asshole in the movie.
I want to draw a comparison. It's like The Wire. Like there's a on towards the end of The Wire, there's two generations of people doing business. There are the people that abide by the rules.
Yeah.
And there's people that shoot at old ladies on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a difference. Like there is a difference between people that do business one way versus the other. And people that are principled, even within this world,
Mhm.
there still is some difference in the way that they behave. I mean, there's a line. There's a clear cut line. This guy is like the true villain that you find out is not who you think it is.
No, it's insane.
It really
Well, that
becomes
scene,
like
that whole scene is insane. What I thought, because I made the note at the beginning of that scene that he seemed just kind of like mildly miffed. So
yeah, yeah,
I was prepared to come to you guys and say, like, I thought it was funny that he seemed kind of perturbed
yeah,
when his
yeah, yeah.
child trafficking ring fell apart. But then within that scene, he went well beyond perturbed into
So
like
bothered.
killing everybody in such a violent way, and then accidentally killing his wife and baby, and
Good
then
God, man.
and then
Wow.
blaming the good guys, blaming the
Yes.
heroes, like verbally, like saying it was their fault several times. And I was like, well, this is almost like hilarious that he's just like, he literally is responsible for it completely, and then it's
Yeah.
like, you did this to me.
You did this. He's like, frap, frap, frap. Oh no, this is your fault.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. So that's nuts. I mean, but again, that's one of the cool things about it. It's like some parts are grounded, and then the fighting is not grounded, and then some of the violence is not grounded. But
Yeah.
like the subject matter obviously is a very grounded thing. Like people do steal kids, people are trafficking them, and and so that's the part that your brain can kind of attach itself to. These people are bad people,
Yeah.
and then
We can
there are
all
people-
agree that child
we could-
abduction and trafficking is bad.
No
Terrible.
bueno.
terrible. And then you have this population of people that are trying to find their kids or just take down the business in general. And then you realize how many layers of corruption there are
Yeah.
within the system. So yeah, it's a interesting dynamic. So what'd you guys think about it overall?
I thought it was awesome. Like, I think that for especially the going into it, hearing so much about it,
Mhm.
and I just want to clarify one thing because I was looking it up. I don't maybe that 500,000 was like opening, but it has made 6.5 million domestically,
Okay.
37 million worldwide. So I don't know what it was
Okay.
made for, but probably way less than it should have here at least. But yeah, we didn't get to see it until it came home. But yeah, I thought it was awesome. Like I think just the kind of the pace at which it moves, I think is a big asset for a movie like this. And I think it's people talk about like you've already mentioned the Raid, like it's the one of the biggest comparisons, mainly because of I don't want to say chaos it is, but it's just like
Yeah.
it's so frenetic that it moves so much. There's so much going on, but it's honestly like the fight choreography is just so creative and so
Yeah.
it's I don't know, just so great. Like it's well handled, it's well imagined, it's well shot. Like the editing in the fight sequences is great. Like you kind of have a really good opportunity to see what's happening in the fight. Like you don't get too lost in like, a lot of fight action films. Like you kind of get too in it where you don't know
Yeah.
what's going on. And there's a couple moments of that, like, which I think is maybe intentionally to disorient you a little bit. But I mean, I think overall a movie like this really benefits from uh just that great choreography. It's not just a fight happening because there's a fight happening basically this whole movie, in form or fashion. But I think the way that they kind of break it up and kind of have a variety of fighting and like the different kinds of martial arts and like the different setups and scenes and things like that, all just make for a really kind of fun movie. And I also just think that like the duo themselves was the duo they were like really really good together. I
Yeah.
think that like the Wang and Naveen or Nevin are just like cool together.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
you wouldn't expect them, but they work. And like and there are moments that are kind of they're just kind of clicking on or firing all cylinders. But yeah, I don't know. Like it may be a little long, maybe. I think that happens with a lot of this kind of movie because they are still trying. It's a simple-ish story, but it does kind of go on to kind of go through the beats and to kind of get to the end that they've set out to give us. But that would maybe be my only criticism. But I don't think that in any point during the movie that was like a real negative for me. You know, like I feel like I was pretty into it the whole time. And yeah, man, if you like the action crime thrillers and then you like want to watch some of the best fight choreography, you know, also like with a sledgehammer and things like that, like that stuff was awesome. I mean, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, hammer. When someone grabs a hammer in a movie like this, I wince. I cringe.
Yes.
Hammer hits just seem like the worst fucking
Yeah.
possible thing. Especially your head.
I mean, what do you
know?
do? Yeah.
Right. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, a hammer is actually the scariest weapon. No, I would more or less agree with what Steve said. I think for me, it did the monotony of fight scene after fight scene after fight scene after fight scene. It does start to wear on me just a little bit. Like I'm not a big martial arts movie guy. Probably my favorite martial arts movie is The Raid, and I think that hits a pretty high standard. But I also know it's not really by traditional definition, it's not like what a lot of people consider like a traditional martial arts movie.
Sure.
So I feel like this movie falls just short of that sort of standard of like tonal tightness and like whatever the cool factor is of the way the fight scenes, like the way the story is told through the fight scenes. This movie feels a little bit more formulaic to me than that. However,
Okay.
pretty much everything else you said is just dead on. Like, I mean, the choreography is so clever and the fight scenes are so like generally well shot. And I might say something close to the opposite of that about another movie later in this episode. So like, I do think you can appreciate when action is choreographed really well. And when a fight has a movement and a, like there's 3 or 4 guys fighting and like, you feel like they get the rhythm and the beats right. Like, oh, he pushes this guy back, this guy comes in, it never feels like there's 3 or 4 people standing around waiting for their turn to fight. It never
That's
feels
so true.
It never feels like
that's a
somebody
great point.
It never feels like somebody is like if there's a guy who's not attacking at this moment, you just saw him get like dirt thrown in his face or kicked in the eyes or something, and you're like, oh, I know why that guy's not coming right back. So I think that is just something that's really well done in this movie, and I think the way that it's shot, there's just a crispness to it, and I think so often with like this is a Hong Kong America co-production? It was an English language film. It's an English language Hong Kong action film. Yeah. But there's just, you know, from like the height of Hong Kong action, just how crisply shot it is and how like the precision of it is so amazing. And then beyond that, we talk about the creativity and the fighting in this. I made a few notes of just a few things just so I wouldn't forget later. Feet stabbing. Yes. At one point, he grabs a knife with his 2 feet and swings his legs up in the air and stabs somebody. Scuttle fighting. There's a lot of like people on the ground, like scuttling, like with someone either under them or like two guys kind of scuttling while they're tussling. And at one point, the 2 guys, there's some bike fighting. They swing bicycles at each other. One guy has a ladder, and another guy climbs up on the ladder he's holding while they're fighting, and the guy's holding the ladder. And then, of course, finger biting. No, so it's just it's full of imaginative stuff like that you can imagine. I mean, I don't know I don't know what the provenance of this movie was, who was behind it, who made it. But when I mentioned that Jackie Chan kind of connection, I also think the lead actor in this who plays the he's just like a craftsman, right? A worker or a contractor or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Wang Wei is his name. But I don't know if he had something to do with the shaping of this material, but it feels like those 2 lead actors, it feels like a movie built around what these guys can do, you know? And I'm sure there's a lot of people who can play these types of roles, but even with the big guy we've mentioned, the bald guy who's like the most endearing child trafficker in the film, even he seems like a guy who's like, well, this guy's like a ballet dancer, you know, like in terms of the movement. So I have to imagine these lead performers are people who are really at the top of their craft. I wouldn't know. I'm almost embarrassed to say I don't know what other things they might have been in.
Mortal Kombat.
But it really felt like it was built around
with some of the coordination in Mortal Kombat. some of the fight choreography in Mortal Kombat as well.
Okay. Well, I mean, so
Also
this movie feels like it was made by a fight choreographer. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels like, and that's the main thrust of the thing. And I think that like overall the story was, like you said, Ronald, it did have like an emotional hook to it. And I even like the little sideline storyline with the kids kind of doing their own little attempts to escape and get around and stuff. Like I thought it was just in general, it just felt a little bit repetitive by the time it was over. But there was no point where the craft started to flag. And so I just generally think of at that point, I feel like I've been talking to editor friends of mine, if they can explain to me why it is it me getting older? Or is it literally that every movie is 15 to 20 minutes longer than it needs to be now? Because I hate saying that. I say it so often that I'm tired of hearing myself say it. But so often I'm like, man, if this movie just got out a little earlier, I would be singing its praises. And I don't think this movie's quite that. I think this movie actually is a mild example of that trend,
Right.
It's just a little repetitive. Like, for instance, a movie like this I watch, and like Nikki really doesn't like chase scenes, car action, fight, like anything that goes on a little too long.
Chase scenes?
Like car chase scenes, she finds really boring. But I mean, a lot of them are kind of boring, So I think what I'm saying is, it takes like really well done action for her to be like, oh, this is great, I love this. And I sort of, while watching this, was like, oh, I think Nikki would like this. But by the time it was over, I was like, there were too many 5-minute fight scenes where all that really gets, like, too many fight scenes where at the end everyone's still alive, where it's like, oh, that was just a fun little. That was like a meeting amongst friends. And I think that's part of martial arts storytelling, is to have character revealed through fighting. But if you're not into fight scenes, you can generally say, oh yeah, that's, like it would be, if you were going to be unfair to the genre, you would say that's all it is. Sure. But I really liked, particularly when we get to that last fight where it's like 4 guys fighting, it's the 2 bad guys. And the bald guy is wanting to get vengeance on the finger biting guy. Yeah. But they're still both bad guys. And then the good guys are, having their own little side fights there. And it's like, I just felt like that.
The guy with the arrow that's just like trying to.
Oh yeah. And then he's going around from the raid, that guy. And he's a pretty good villain too. It's just, it felt like the character was coming out through the fights, and everything we knew about the characters was like paying off in the fights. And I just think that's a really cool. It's I don't think of storytelling that way, and it's really cool to see a movie do it. And it's why I was blown away by The Raid, and it's why something like this, like I said, it feels just like a really well made example of you've seen the movie where the guy who can fight helps the kid. Yeah, there've been a few of these, but this is like a particularly well made version of that.
It's so funny you mentioned The Raid. The thing is, this movie doesn't have that moment where the kid tries to press the button and gets shot. Mm-hmm. You remember that scene where he's kind of running? And they tried to do it with the arrow scene where the kid gets shot with the arrow. You remember when the lady tries to save the kid and then he just kind of falls back?
Yes.
It doesn't hit like that moment does in The Raid, because that's when everything changes. Once that kid gets hurt, it's like the civility, the kindness is gone. It's like the rules that they were following disappear. And this didn't quite have one of those like moments that made me kind of I mean, that moment was rough, don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't filmed quite as intricately as that scene for me.
You're right that it didn't hit emotionally. Maybe it's that thing where it falls in the movie and the way that it happens, you just don't feel like the kid's gonna, you're like, oh, she's fine. That's, in some part of you is like, that doesn't feel like if they were gonna hurt the kid or kill the kid, which would be incredibly bleak. Right, but you have to wonder sometimes when you're watching a movie, how far are they going to go? It just didn't feel like that moment. And so you're right. It almost felt like, oh yeah, she got hurt. Like, or like, oh yeah, that was her. Do you know what I mean? It was almost, it was almost like a moment that just didn't feel, mainly because I don't remember feeling like our guy there. He didn't seem like he registered it in as dramatic of a way as you would think. But anyway, no, I agree with you. Just like I said, I think that it's just it tonally just wasn't going as hard as that, and that's fine. No, like this is a little bit more like a family film because of the. I mean, it definitely isn't.
But I know what you mean. Yeah.
And then it's got crazy stuff in it, like the guy with the fro that gets frozen, and then like right when you think, oh, maybe he's going to get thawed out while he's still alive,
Yeah.
then he gets broken into pieces, and you're like, oh,
Broken into
no.
pieces. Which is a throwback. It's an homage to one of the Bruce Lee movies that takes place in an ice factory, and the villain freezes all the people. It's like a really cool homage to. I think it's called The Big Boss. One of my favorites. I think it's called The Big Boss, where there's an ice factory with Bruce Lee.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it does a good job of paying homage to things and also doing new stuff. But
Yeah. No, it felt really fresh. Like, I'm glad that it wasn't just a $500,000 gross, because that would be
Yeah.
wild.
there
But
was
I
a
mean,
headline about that when they first announced that it was coming to digital. That hit it. I mean, maybe people were like, "What is this movie that everybody's saying it's just $500,000 gross?" But yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it.
it was fun.
Yeah, it's a blast. Good choice.
Yeah. Who's next?
That's me.
I can pull up the bearded dragon of choosing. He's the bearded dragon of choosing.
Been going back and forth, and I'm having some trouble, guys.
Okay.
Basically, I'm trying to say, do I want to stick with something recent that I haven't seen, or do I want to really kind of go back and check a box for something that I always hear about, but admittedly I've never seen, and I can't decide which direction to go.
I think it would be more interesting to see you go back and check a box. I feel like you go recent sometimes.
That was my inclination, because I do pick more modern stuff,
which is good. I'm glad we do that, but it's
Yeah.
but it's
My only concern was, I'm sure, John, you've seen this movie. That's fine, because that happens all the time. But okay, yeah, I'm gonna go that. I'm gonna do this. Okay, so I'm gonna go with a movie that's been on my list. These movies that you hear people list as like one of their best of all time. It's one of their favorites. It comes up all the time. But yeah, I've never seen it, and it's called Badlands.
Oh, I have not seen Badlands.
Wonderful, wonderful. Terrence Malick, Martin Sheen, Sissy Spacek. Again, I've heard so many people talk about this movie in such high regard. I love everybody involved with it, and saw the trailer for it through like a little. It was like it came up as an ad almost, I guess. I can't even understand why I saw this, or maybe it was coming through because of I was searching for Carrie, like because like the stuff came out for Flanagan's Carrie, like a little teaser. I don't know. For the space of it all, I don't know how I saw this. It just threw it in front of me, and I was like, "Wow, I always wanted to watch that." And it just thank you for reminding me. So, yeah, we're gonna go to Badlands next week, and it's available for a couple bucks for rental on most of the digital platforms. So, yeah, going back, and I'm glad to hear that. Ronald, you haven't seen it, right?
No.
Right. So this is there's 3 for 3. We're gonna go all watch this together for the first time.
We'll tick a box.
Cool.
So
at the very least, we'll tick a box.
Tick a box. And yeah, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. So we'll talk about it next week.
Awesome.
How much is it to rent? I'm sorry.
I think it's
$50.
50 bones.
I think it was $3.99 or $2.99 when I looked it up earlier today.
Cool.
I think that was on Amazon, but I guess it's probably the same or similar price.
It's our first Malick.
I think it is. Yeah. I mean, again, we're going all over the place here. Prime Video is $3.99.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is elsewhere, but
I'm sure we've talked about Malick films before on the show, but I just mean this will be the first required viewing. He just seems like he might have. He's the type of director that seems like he might have popped up before now. But yeah, this is a movie that I always, some movies you hear about. I don't know why those. Like, why do you sometimes not watch a movie that sounds good and that you hear is good and that sounds like you are interested? Totally. You know what I mean? Like, why do you sometimes go, yep, one day.
Totally.
At some point, I'll see that movie.
All right, I'm going to go back to my blank background there. Well, Well, what? How are we going to do this? Because I know that not any one thing has been seen by all three of us, except we've all watched a little bit of X-Men '97 season 2. Is that correct? We
Yes.
can talk about that a little bit, right?
I've seen the first 2 episodes, but I don't mind you guys talking about it a little more. I mean,
I don't think I'll have
yeah.
to say anything plot oriented anyway. There's not.
Okay.
It's more about the stuff that we all see. Here's a funny thing for me. I'll just jump in and say, I did not watch season 1
At all?
No, I didn't. But I heard
I
that it was
didn't know
good.
that.
I just didn't, and because I wasn't. You guys all were of the age. Most people I know
That's true.
were
Okay.
of the age where the cartoon was their X-Men. But I was not watching the cartoons when this cartoon was on. I mean, and I don't say this in any kind of harsh way. I have zero nostalgia for the cartoon. It means nothing to me. However, I heard how good season 1 was, and I'm an X-Men nerd.
Yeah.
The X-Men comics were like a huge part of why I got into comics, like when I was in 4th and 5th grade, so like they were a huge thing for me. The soap opera, the family, I was just telling my son Henry, like, you guys know his name, but if it's a new listener, maybe they need to know. My son Henry, not the other one, not Vladimir. But like that, I was drawn at first. I remember when I first saw comics, because I was reading like Richie Rich comics and stuff like that, like I was reading like little kids comics.
Yeah.
And then maybe I knew there was a Star Wars comic, and so I was reading some of that. But you would see the comics rack, and you would just see images of like, and I remember seeing Cyclops, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Professor X, and just being like, and Wolverine, who the fuck are they? Like, they all look so weird and so different from each other. But I mean, honestly, it was like I was like it was like my little brain was just like, what are these characters? And I got so pulled into it. So that was my waking up to the X-Men. A lot of people who I would discover years later, like when the movie started coming out, a lot of these people are into the X-Men from the cartoon. So to me, I've always respected the cartoon for that, because I was like, well, they must bring in a lot of lore and a lot of comic characters and stories, because people seem to know all these references, but you'll find out they haven't picked up a comic. So that was my, backstory. And then when this new season came out, I was like, well, I know enough about the X-Men. I can just jump in and understand this. And I mean, saying I loved it might be like a little bit strong of a review of all 4 episodes, but I'm so in on this, and I'm so in on like how much it feels like it's just pulling from so many things. Like, X-Men is so deep with lore. There's so many characters and so many side teams and so many things going on. And I just feel like this show feels like it takes place in that world. And I'm impressed at and I think maybe someone who's watched all the episodes can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like they have amped up the animation and the kind of, for lack of a better term, the kind of cinematic quality of this show for this new incarnation. They're definitely trying to make something that stands up to like what they're trying to do with the MCU, but it's such a cool little side avenue of just seeing these characters bounce off of each other in a much more comic booky way, because it is more heightened. And again, it's got all this continuity built into the show. So the movies have never really been able to get to that place and do quite what this show does. So yeah, it's in some ways I'm like, is this the best adaptation of the X-Men?
There's no question. I would say yes. Personally.
To say nothing of the magic of Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart and those guys, but
yeah, that can still be, and like it's amazing casting, and like I love those performances, the cast, the actors is great, but yeah, there is like the X-Men show, like what you described was me. Like I got into the X-Men with the cartoons more. Like I definitely had seen them in comics, and I was aware of them, but the show was really like bringing those storylines into the television show was more of my exposure to it, because I wasn't reading the comics like you. But there was awareness. But I think really the show that I watched, like, it was more than the show, it was the video game. It was the arcade game. Like, that iteration of X-Men in that era of my life, which was like my formative years of, middle high school, was really something special. And it's very nostalgic for it. And I was trying to explain this to Aaron, because she kind of like not laughs it off, but like she can't believe how much I love this show. Like I'm so into the show watching it in our basement, like getting emotional watching it,
Hmm.
especially last season. Um, but even this season, there's been incredible things. Uh, but I do think that like there's something really, really special about it watching it last season and this season. I think also because of when it's coming out. I think there's been a bit of a lull in the comic book movies that we've loved for a
Yeah.
decade. And coming off of the high of whatever you want to say, Infinity War, Endgame, the Spider-Man movie was a really good time. And I've liked other movies that have come out, and I just think that to see them revisit this series that I loved growing up, and that like I genuinely think that it's some of the best comic book stuff
Hmm.
that I've watched in the film and television medium like ever. Like the first season and what I've seen of the five this season, it's just so great. It's so special.
Hmm.
Like the voice performances are great. The animation is so kind of cool to watch again. The theme song is like in my head all day, like on repeat, just because I've kind of got through the second season in the past week or so.
Do you
Um,
ever mash it up in your head with "I'm your baby tonight"? Because it's got the da 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 da
da
da
da
da da da da da.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I
I
can't help
haven't,
but do
but
that.
maybe that I haven't noticed.
I
But
can't. I'm hoping that Whitney Houston will be a character on this season.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just think the way that the show has like moved around these story lines and the story points and the kind of finesse it uses to kind of jump, like this season specifically, between these like timelines or time zones or time eras, whatever,
Yeah,
like dealing with apocalypse. And it's so refreshingly great.
yeah. It's really
Like, I don't know.
confident with all that.
Yeah, and again, I don't know. I know there was some drama or some stuff around the showrunner. What?
Still is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like he's still on here as a producer, executive producer,
Well,
producer
I
Yeah.
think because he wrote the first 3 or 4 scripts that they were still using,
for
and
this season.
I
Oh, okay.
think that because of character arcs and stuff he was in on. I mean, I think his name will remain in that capacity,
Got
executive
it. Okay.
producer. But I think the scripts that he's written, I think they just ran out of the scripts that he wrote before he left.
Got it.
But yeah, that's a
Um,
crazy situation because so
It
much of
is,
that
man.
feel and I mean, it's interesting to know. Like, people I guess will be able to say do they like this season overall as much as they like the last one, because that is a little weird to have a show that hits so hard with fans and then suddenly have the showrunner, like fired for reasons, but still reasons that there's a lot of back and forth on, and it's a kind of an
Right.
it's a little too much dirty laundry, it almost feels like.
Yeah.
But if it's true that he was weird with his employees, that's where I think that Disney would say, okay, we got to get rid of this guy, doesn't matter how
Sure.
important he is to the project.
But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, all that, whatever's going on with that, like, I'm curious to see if there's like a drop off or change in the way that the show feels,
Yeah.
because clearly there's something special happening with what was going on with the show, and it's still happening. Um, but yeah, like my buddy and I text about it every week. Like we are just like growing up, we love the show, and we're so jazzed that it came back so quickly. And like even we were walking around, like I was around town today, like seeing there's like cross promotion stuff happening advertising wise, like at like I was at like Wawa, like some of the food has like X-Men 97 characters on it, like honey buns,
Oh
and
wow.
like Dave's Hot Chicken has an X-Men button set you can get like with a certain meal you buy. I'm like, this is amazing. Like they're putting it out there and they're trying. Um, but yeah, I absolutely adore it. I think it's incredible.
Yeah. Ronald, what do you think of the two you've seen?
Well, I've kind of championed animation as one of the sacred places where you can tell stories in comic books where you don't have to suspend. Well, I always fuck this phrase up.
Suspend your disbelief.
Believe.
Suspend your disbelief because everything's kind of happening within the world. The animation's the same. It's like there isn't any CGI. It's just all happening within that world.
Right.
I've said that for a really long time, And then proof of it was the Spider-Man in Into the Spider-Verse was the first time that I had friends outside of people that had seen X-Men and Spider-Man, the animated series, say this.
Right.
Um, X-Men, the animated series, has always been a very cinematic, well voice acted sort of thing. But I think you're right. There's something that's been elevated in '97 that's kind of it's like the animation's a little smoother. The the layering of like kind of 3D animation and the trying to traditional animation creates this thing that's a little more cinematic too.
You know what it has reminded me of, Ronald, with like some of the backgrounds and like just some of the detail and stuff. I was like, this is like got a lot in common with anime, which I guess it always did on the show, but I feel like maybe also now it's kind of like it's like a 4K cartoon too. It's like they know the resolution you're going to be, they know the size of screen and the resolution you're going to be looking at it in, and so the detail is there, and it really reminds you of that kind of where you just are looking at it going like, I mean, I'm sure they're using a lot of computers to approximate a kind of hand-drawn style, but it really does feel hand-drawn, and it really does feel like there's a lot of love put into, like, again, just things where I'm like, this feels so much like the comics, and this feels so much like the stories, and the way they can break off and have an episode where it's a weird group of characters, and they go deep for some of these references. Some of the characters they pull in are like deep bench characters. That just makes my little comic book nerd happy. But yeah, I think that what you're talking about is very much it, Ronald, that it does feel like it's just like to make it a little more current or make it more cinematic, but they're very clearly going off of all the designs. And I mean, like it's interesting how much they've made it look like the original show, and yet they've updated it just in terms of what we were just describing.
It almost makes me really like, I can't wait until the second season of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man comes out. Like
that should be soon, I think, right?
That was also incredible.
Also
like,
great.
Yeah.
So good. It's crazy that we're getting these like unreal stories. We're really well told stories through animation, like you said, and we're not getting so much as a trailer for Doomsday yet. And tickets are supposed to go on sale next week.
Okay, don't you think they're waiting for the, like, I can see why Spider-Man's the focus right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it's weird that, because Dune 3 is the best comparison to Doomsday, right? Because it's coming out on the same day.
Right. Right.
And it's had a trailer and an official trailer, and the hype around that movie grew so much. That second trailer got so many people that I know. Yeah. I heard so many people say, I think I want to watch the Dune films. Are those good? And it's like, oh yeah, you should be watching these. You mentioned, it's just funny, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Spider-Verse. I loved the Darth Maul show that they just did, the Star Wars thing. It's like, I'm not saying, I would never say I don't want to see the live action versions again, or that they shouldn't make those, but it does seem, but honestly, it seems like they're having more, like, they're satisfying more people with the animated output
100%, man.
right now. Just right now. I mean, I think it's possible that all it takes is one big movie to get people amped as fuck again.
For sure.
But like, as far as what feels like the kind of storytelling that I mean, again, I'm talking about fans, and I mean like people who are fans of these characters. We've talked on this show a lot about how there's a lot of people that are just not as like superhero fatigue or whatever genre fatigue it is. It's real, but it only affects people that are new to that genre. It doesn't really affect people that love the genre overall. So it's like, that's where I've always been, is like, I'm interested to see the next one, even if I understand. I do think it's different when it's not this groundswell of like, everybody's into this. But I feel like the people who watch the cartoons, which is probably a much smaller audience, but they're more unified in their appreciation of it. And there's more like, oh yeah, this is the X-Men I like. This is the Spider-Man I like. This is the Star Wars I like. They could chill out on live action probably for a couple of years and wouldn't get that many complaints.
Yeah. They're taking some big swings in the animated shows, man. Like, it's, like you're saying, they're digging in with these characters, like X Factor. Like, who
I love that
ever
opening
thought,
where you get the different team opening. And that was such a fun way to do it.
They would never take that chance in a live action movie. They would have merged the teams into one team and called them something else, or you know what I mean? Like, the animated shows are really abiding by the comics. Like people are, they change some things, but it's really cool to see
Yeah.
something as close to what people imagine these characters looking like, sounding like. The brutality of the violence, like it's still violent, like it's still, you get the
there,
emotions of it. It's
there's
still
a moment in the newest one that was so shocking to me that just because it was so like, yeah, there's a character who dies in a brutal way and it's just barely shown.
oh no.
But it was like, oh yeah, this is not quite like a hard R cartoon, but it's
Right.
a pretty hard PG-13, you know.
Oh yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah, dude.
So,
Yes.
What else?
Ronald, what else did you see? Anything? You started to watch a movie that Steve
yeah.
actually got to
I
see.
want to see Minions, but yeah, didn't have any success with that.
Yes.
How
Your,
was it,
your
Steve?
movie buddy said not this one.
Yeah, shit, nah, nah.
Um, I mean, definitely the best Minions movie, for
Really?
sure. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's, yeah, no contest. I mean, especially the Minion movies of the Despicable Me world.
Okay.
I think the Despicable Me movies are better, but the of the Minion films, this is definitely the best one. Yeah, the kids loved it. I mean, it's got a lot of love for like Hollywood and movie making and like
Okay.
old school stuff. There's some fun little cameos
I
and
saw the popcorn thing that was like the
the film
projector.
reel. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
film.
the thing. Yeah, what's that?
Yeah.
What's that actually called? I know I saw that one too at Regal. Um, but yeah, like it's funny. You know, it's like it's I don't know. I don't. I'm not the biggest minion. I like the Minions.
All
I
right.
don't love the Minions movies as much. I
Okay.
like the
Okay.
Despicable Me movies. Like my kids love both, and like they're at the theme parks, and we're all about it. We have stuff at the house for them. But this was definitely the most entertaining, the funnest one, and the most fun in the theater for sure because it's pretty funny. Like it's
Mm.
got some really good jokes and some great little Hollywood like classic movie winks and nods. The movies like Jaws and such, but
Was there a
um
15-minute Minionese scene? I heard that there's a scene where it's complete Minionese for 15 minutes.
um
No English.
there's a run. Yeah. I mean, but I mean, again, it's like part of it's kind of what is funny about it. Um, but yeah, no, it's like, it was fun. It was cute. I mean,
Okay.
I don't have much to say. I think the best thing I can say is that it's the best Minions movie and it's got good reviews. I mean, it's definitely way better than I thought it would be, to be honest with you. Uh, so yeah, if there's an interest, I mean, obviously it's weird because like it kind of underperformed, but I think that branch of the franchise is not as strong as maybe the core Despicable Me franchise, but maybe not. I mean, I know a couple years ago, I mean, the movie came out, and I think it almost made $1 billion, um, but yeah, it was fun. It was cute. I think that what saves it is the idea of like the Hollywood stuff for me, and like I think that's what does make it like kind of a bit meta, a bit tongue in cheek, and a lot of great little moments in the movie work so well because of that. Um, yeah, so that was that. What else?
Well, you also saw Toy Story 5.
I did see Toy Story 5. I loved it. I thought it was great. I still, I kind of like straddle this line of like, should they have stopped at the Toy Story 3 because it was perfect and it was a great ending to the trilogy, but I will still go see any Toy Story movie because they're all great to me.
Yeah.
And I love the characters. I love the themes, the music, the feelings, the vibes of a Toy Story movie are really something special and something great. Because even like the lesser Toy Story film is better than most animated films, in my opinion, and most movies, I guess, even in general. I don't even want to say animated, just like most movies. But I love that Jesse has a movie. I love that element of it. I love the because it's a very real conflict and struggle that I face every day. The battle with technology and devices and handheld stuff, like it's a real struggle. And I think the movie has a really great take on it and fair assessment of it and approach to uh, like how it could. really be navigated in a world that's so dependent on it when you still kind of want to focus on play and experiences and relationships in real life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I love all of them, and this is kind of right, probably in the middle of the pack for me. But yeah, Toy Story 5 was really good, and there's some really great jokes in it, and it gets me in the feels. It got me. They always do, every single one of them. But it's got a great moment that Jesse has, and a couple really great ones. It it's like I don't want to say it's like odd or weird that like Woody is not in the movie a whole lot,
Mm-hmm.
or even really Buzz to that matter. But it feels right that this movie, because of the perspective it's taking with Bonnie and her relationships with her peers and other children, that it's Jesse that gets to have this movie because of
Yeah.
what Jesse went through that we learned about in prior films.
Mm-hmm.
And it's explored a little more in this. So it just feels so right that like the lack of Woody and Buzz is completely fine by me because you get enough of them in the movie still. If you get what I'm trying to
Well, in
say.
a weird way, I mean, dragging them into the center of it every time at a certain point, I mean, it's not like it wrecks their arc or anything, but it does kind of mean like they get to a point in their character arcs, which they have over the course of the movies,
Totally.
where like if you keep making like at this point, if you do another movie where Woody's like flipping out about something and needs to chill out, it's like, well, we've seen him do that. We've seen him grow past that.
Right.
Oh, another movie where Buzz doesn't understand reality. It was like, well, we've seen Buzz go through all that, and now he's kind of settled into sort of a sort of a
Great
leadership
point.
role, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
So I don't know. I feel like what you just said makes perfect sense, and it almost seems like the only way. I know there were some people that pushed back on that,
Yeah.
because they wanted it to be more of a Buzz and Woody thing. And to me, that feels like if you're doing a fifth one, it's just fine
Exactly.
to
That's it.
not be always trying to basically rehash the same sort of dynamic.
And that's probably the path forward. Whatever happens with the franchise is that, you think about where it's going in terms of like, they're leaving a house, they're going to a daycare, they're going to a
Mm-hmm.
fair, to an antique store, they're going with a different character's perspective. Like it just seems logical that there's got to be something unique about it or fresh about it or that feels right. And I think that it feels very right that Jessie is the star of the movie, and it's a great story for her. And yeah, I thought it was great.
Well, they kind of did that in the last one with Bo Peep. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, exactly.
it's like, oh yeah, this character who seemed like she should have been one of the major characters. Well, now we're going to give her a lot to do.
Yes.
Again, it makes perfect sense. What I'm happy about is hearing you say the other part though, which is that sort of what makes this one different. Like what are they saying this time? You're saying they kind of they thread the needle nicely as far as like
I felt
the old fashioned toys versus modern tech based toys or screens. That like
Yes,
that like
exactly.
that to me felt like as a hook. I was like, oh, when I knew that was the hook of this one, I was like, oh, okay, I see how they have a fifth Toy Story movie now. Before I was like, why do we need a fifth one? And then they're doing
Correct.
the whole screens versus toys thing, and it's like, okay, cool. You just got to. I mean, you don't even have to tell me more than that for me to know there's a movie in that.
Yeah.
Because the old toys get to kind of stand in for like worried parents who are like, what is
Exactly.
this? What is this tech? And also probably people that are like, this tech is kind of cool. Like,
Right. No, I mean, and that's the thing.
we
is like
can't beat this.
and there's some really poignant moments where like there are the revelations of like there is a benefit to some of this,
Yeah.
Mm.
like from both sides of the struggle, and that is the challenge of like guardrails and limitations and not helicoptering or over policing it, not that at all, but like knowing that there are pros and cons to everything, and that being open to uh how those things can coexist and like enrich someone is
Hmm.
both embracing moving forward and still like acknowledging that like you are who you are because of things that worked.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna hold on to those things because they still really matter to me, and they are a part of who I am. And that is a really big part of the movie, and it's a really great. I think it's executed extremely well.
Mm.
That's
Oh,
awesome
wow.
to hear.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to watch it. I'm sure. I'm sure
No,
you
I
both
can't
will.
believe I haven't seen it yet.
I thought
I can't
the.
believe it's not butter.
You
I
know,
mean, always.
I can, Ronald.
There's a lot of things that aren't
I
what
don't
they're
know what it is
called.
about me. I've always been able to believe that it's not butter.
The taste is not that similar.
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying I've always been able to believe it.
You've been
I'm just open to the possibility.
he's open to that. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Like if I was eating a cupcake and you were to say that's not a cupcake, I'd be like, I believe it. You don't have to tell me more. This is all a
I can't
simulation.
believe it's not butter.
Well, we still can't believe it, even all these years later. We've come to terms. You'd think by now that the product would have changed its name till we've come to terms with it. Well, I saw a follow-up, a sequel in a franchise that some people might say, are they really doing another one? Do we need a fifth Toy Story? Do we need a sixth Evil Dead? And I guess my answer would be, sure, we need as many Evil Deads as they can make.
Sure, I'll take it.
It's not quite like Toy Story, as many people might say that it is.
They usually go like.
Let me explain the ways in which Evil Dead is not like Toy Story. But it's like with Evil Dead, the last three, this is the third of the reboot sort of series era, whatever you want to call it. So this is like now we've had three by Sam Raimi and three each by different directors. And I think that's kind of an interesting thing. The director of this one was asked if he would come back to do another one, and he said he thinks that no one should get to do more than one other than Sam Raimi. That this series should always be about getting a new director in to do their thing. And I think that, I would say thus far that idea holds true to me, because they have lost, when you don't have Sam Raimi, you don't have Bruce Campbell, you do lose something that makes this series unique. But what they did with the remake in 2013 that we all, I think, enjoyed a lot.
Loved it.
Like they found a new way to say, well, we're going to take away the fun, campy, perfect character / performance that we get with Bruce Campbell and that sort of Sam Raimi Gonzo style, but we're going to replace it with, well, what is it else that if you take those things out, what else is Evil Dead? And one of the things it's always been is just really nasty, like really mean, and the demons are kind of scary. They're scary because they're mean, and there's a personal element to it. They take over somebody you love and they destroy that person physically, but they also play the part of that person if they need, like when they want to freak you out, they say, "Oh God, it really hurts." They're just mean. And I feel like these movies have kept to that tradition. This sort of does feel like the third disconnected sequel in a horror franchise in a way. Like it doesn't feel like it's trying to do anything. Just like if you saw Evil Dead Rise, it wasn't trying to do anything totally different with the backstory or anything, but it's just
right.
giving you more characters that run into this problem of like, if you find a tape with an incantation on it, don't play it. If you find a book with an incantation in it, don't read it.
Simple.
But
if an incantation's involved, just don't.
But if you're gonna do it, then yes, you can expect the kind of madness that ensues in this film. And I think that one of the things that it really works is the like I said, the nastiness, the meanness of it. It is brutal. Like honestly, like from like the moment the movie starts, it's almost like it lights a fuse, and the first 10-15 minutes might be some of the best part of the movie, just because it's so crazy. Like you barely meet characters, and it just insane, awful stuff is happening, and it kind of continues that. It slows down a lot once we get to our new core group of characters, but up till the last scenes, it's giving you something. Like there's something very close to the end that's like, okay, well, that's insane, and I didn't expect to see that even in this movie that's giving me insane stuff. So
yeah,
I mean, the only thing that really holds it back sometimes is like there is a lot of like CGI gore, and I just think CGI gore just does not have even a fraction of the impact of practical gore. And so there is a little bit, like sometimes those effects do let you down a little bit because they don't feel as visceral. But as far as how imaginative are the kills and how Like, is there a kind of grim humor in watching like a bad situation start? Like, oh, I see how this is going to go bad. I see how this person's going to get hurt. It's like the equivalent of someone grabbing a hammer in a fight scene. You're just like, oh, no.
No good.
But no, it's just they do a good job with it. And I don't think this is like reinventing the wheel or doing anything too bold, but it does add a couple of new wrinkles and a couple of new little beats to this series that I love. And I would say if anyone stayed through the credits, they got to see like a more substantive than usual post-credit scene, as far as like, oh, this is just like this like is a whole connection to the other movie and a whole chunk of a little piece of story that really is like a whole scene, not like just get to the end of the credits and you hear a laugh or whatever, like some movies do. So I don't know. I think that like, I think fans of I mean, honestly, it's weird. I would say I've seen such a split though. It seems like some people really are like, this is not my Evil Dead. And other people are like, oh, I thought it was great. But I think that like it too is like an hour and 55 and it could have been an hour and 40 and it would have been like, I would probably be a little bit more excited about it now if it didn't also kind of just wear out its welcome just a little bit. Because not because it's bad, but because it is a little, once a movie is doing the same thing over and over again a little bit, you kind of go, oh, okay, I see where we're going here. Like there's not going to be you're not about, for the last act, you're not expecting some crazy surprising thing to happen, and so you're just pretty much watching like I want to see how everybody gets got, and that's not as narratively interesting as it is when you think maybe there will be some new wrinkle introduced. But this movie really does not have new wrinkles. It's just got, I mean, it goes back to basics. You've really got someone playing the tape. No, not playing the tape, actually reading the book and like reading the words aloud as they get to these cursed words should never be spoken or whatever. And then they're like, start reading, but like, that's not the point. The point is once it starts happening, terrible things occur to the human body. So yeah, Evil Dead burn. I would burn a path to the local theater to watch this. You won't feel burned unless this movie is not to your taste.
I like it.
And then one other movie that I saw that I will mention that is maybe the biggest movie this week. Definitely the biggest movie this week, right? The Odyssey. This is like one of the biggest movies of the year.
It is.
Yeah,
it's always weird when it kind of like creeps out. But, I might be, of the people on this podcast, I might be the least who's just like in love with Christopher Nolan. I don't know if I'm wrong about that. Maybe you guys don't love Christopher Nolan, but I really like Christopher Nolan and I love a few of his movies, but I'm not always like pre-sold on the massive genius of whatever he's going to do the way I think some people are. But I will say that if there ever was a movie that needs that Christopher Nolan like approach to spectacle and like you're just going to see it on the screen. And this movie is, I didn't see it on an IMAX screen, but I saw it on the biggest non-IMAX screen, like at Towson Cinemark. And it was, it's super impressive. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
The spectacle of it is just, you got to see it on the biggest screen. And I think there are some people who might find the tone of it, like if it's a little self-serious or it's a little monochrome in terms of, the color palette. I could see some people finding this movie to be a little bit like monotonous at the length, but I love an epic like this, and I don't mind an episodic story. If you're going on adventures and you're going to different islands and shit, I'm all in for that. And I loved seeing it done at this scale and with this level of just trying to create something that you hadn't quite seen before on screen. And, it's all the stuff Christopher Nolan talks about wanting to do. Like, he wants people to see a movie in the theater. He wants people to get an experience you can't get at home. He wants to make a movie no one else would make. I mean, all those things are kind of on display in this. And, so I would say all the strengths, and if you want to think of him as weaknesses or, points that get criticized about him, those things are kind of here too. But like, the spectacle always won out for me. Every time I would start to think, oh, this dialogue was a little clunkier on the nose, or some of this feels a little bit like it's not as dynamic as it could be in terms of how it's staged, there'd be some just shot of like, oh yeah, he got 100 actors in costume and they're on a beach and there's 3 boats that I'm pretty sure they built that are right there. And it just looks great. You're just like, okay, take me away. I would say the main criticism I would have outside of the like I said, there are some moments of kind of clunky dialogue or just kind of exposition where it feels like it'll go from really cool storytelling to not quite as elegant. I don't think he's great at staging action. Like, I think he's great at staging stunts. I don't think he's great at like I feel like in Batman movies, his Batman movies, there's a lot of like, oh, Batman comes in and there's a lot of stuff going on and you don't really see. It's the opposite of the fight choreography in The Furious that we were just talking about. That's so intricate. It kind of feels like it's a little frenetic and hectic. And now this movie is not a movie where war is supposed to look cool or pretty. That's not really what I'm saying. It just doesn't feel like it's choreographed that well, to the point where there is a point late in the movie where Matt Damon is surrounded by people with spears and he's got like a sword, I think. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of just pointing at him and jabbing at him, and he's kind of going, but it's like it just goes on too long, and you're like, well, that wasn't a very well choreographed shot. But it's, look at this room, look at all these you know what I mean? It's like the cast of thousands type thing. It really is like an old school Hollywood epic. So if it's got some kind of clunky bits, it's only because so much, like, you're noticing that in contrast to the stuff that does not, you wouldn't describe that way at all. And great actors doing what you know they can do. And I really did think some of the just seeing it on this giant screen with, honestly, I think whatever criticism people give about his sound design, I felt like I could understand almost all of the dialogue in this.
Oh, cool.
I will say that there's a lot of character names, though, that get thrown at you. That's more of a thing. It's like you hear them say, oh, and Antilinus and Mechananus and Jebediah are coming. And you're just like, I think I know who that is. Crazy. I think I know who that is. But it's really, only when someone's like dead and you're seeing them and you hear someone say he is dead. Like you go, oh, okay, that's who Jebediah was. But no, it's I don't think it's a detriment to the movie. I think the context clues are all there, so that even when you're like, I'm not sure if I know who they mean, by the time it really matters, and the key characters come across very clearly. I'm already
Jebediah.
Yes, Jebediah and Menonakis, I think, is the other one I said. But I think Aluminius is a great character. I'm already thinking of scenes that I want to see again as I'm sitting here talking to you guys about it, and it's like, that is something that my inner 10-year-old, like, I used to get home from a movie and just be like in pain that I couldn't watch it again right then. I can see this movie being one that would be fun to see some of these things again. But really, just you're already sold on it. I think both of you already know, like, you're going to see this, and you're probably going to see it on the biggest screen you can. And maybe we'll have a more full discussion once we've all three seen it. But I will say this: if you know how people will say, there's no reason to worry about spoiling this story. It's been, I'm going to spoil a movie from 10 years ago. Oh, I'm going to spoil a book from 50 years ago. I'm not going to worry about spoiling an epic from almost 3,000 years ago. But
lightly.
But I will say, if you're not fresh on the epic, it's cool to sit down and let this just wash over you, because it's got that Nolan timeline. He's not doing anything tricky with the timeline, but he is giving you like a flashback within a flashback, and these characters are over here and this character's over here, and you're starting to see how they converge. So it's got a little bit of that Nolan kind of structure that in this case just makes you feel the distance and the time that's taken place in this story. And some of the stuff is just, again, the story of the Trojan horse. It's kind of cool to see it, the Cyclops and everything. Well, it's just kind of cool to see somebody really give it to you. And I think that I think this movie does that. So
very cool.
This Nolan guy, I think he's got a future in the movies.
Something's there, yeah. I wanted to just mention two movies real quick. I don't know if anybody else has anything to talk about, but I went on a Romicus Comicus kick the past week.
Oh, cool.
One that I had been like just really dying to see from positive word of mouth, and another one that, again, was in the queue, and it kind of got me motivated to watch it. But so the older one is called People We Meet on Vacation.
Oh, yeah.
That's on Netflix. That kind of got into my view orbit because I think of...
Your Vorbit.
Because we were talking... Yeah, I have Vorbit. Talking about Tom Blythe for Wasteman. He was one of the leads in there. And this was like a Netflix rom-com that he was in a few months back. And with Emily Bader, and Aaron had watched it and said she really liked it, and came back to watch it, and it was I thought it was really cute. It's really great. Like it's like it's at that Netflix level rom-com that is above what is like a step up from like the minimally acceptable Romicus Comicus. Like that puts
Yeah.
it at least higher than like what we see in like the Lifetime, the Hallmark, like those kind of like I would say like even of the ones we've talked about recently that I think what was Office Romance and Tuscany.
Yeah, Yumi and Tuscany.
You mean Tuscany? Yeah, like this is I felt like this was like a step above those.
Oh
So
wow.
that's on Netflix. It's a cool idea. It's like basically about these two friends that meet kind of inadvertently through like a ride share home from college one year, and they basically are in different parts of the country, and they kind of decide to kind of keep their friendship going by like going on a vacation every summer together, and having weird, have just kind of vacation level experiences when they're together doing these things, and of course there's a spark between them, and will they, won't they? It's a tale's oldest time, but like it's well acted. It's got a great needle drop. Anything with Paula Abdul's "Forever Your Girl" is a check in my book or a tally in my list of checks. I don't know what that is. I love a good needle drop, especially I'm noticing that these like the rom-coms that like have those great like 80s and 90s songs like really kind of speak to me. Like I'm a sucker for it. And it has a great one, a dance sequence. Um, so yeah, the people we meet on vacation, above average, I'd say good, very good, probably like a 7 out of 10, 6, 7 out of 10.
Six,
And
seven.
uh, did that for my kids. But the other one that I really wanted to see, that kind of got me into the Netflix rom-com tube here was Voicemails for Isabel,
Hmm.
which Lee McKendrick made a movie a few years ago, writer, director, actress, called Scrambled, that I think I talked about briefly on the podcast. It was a great rom-com drama. She's great in it, but I've kind of been following her ever since and had been hearing about her doing this movie for a while. And to make it even more enticing for me, this movie has one of my favorite actresses of the new generation, I guess I'll say, which is Zoe Deutsch.
Hmm.
Love her. She's in my favorite Netflix rom-com, which is Set It Up with our boy Glenn Powell from years back. So I was very excited to watch her in another one, and it is great. I loved it. It is definitely another step past the people we meet on vacation. Nick Robinson is in it. Nick Offerman's in it. Again, Leah McKendrick has a role. Harry Shum Jr., Lucas Gage, who actually Lucas Gage was also in the other one I just mentioned, which was kind of odd watching these movies relatively close and seeing them in both of them. But this is a really kind of like sad movie at a starting point, but the idea of the meet cute of these characters is great, and it's basically the premise. Um, like this girl is leaving voicemails for her sister who passed away
Hmm.
Oh wow.
without realizing that the number has been reassigned, and it's going to like a voicemail box that's just not set up or something, and this guy who gets a phone through work is hearing these voicemails and is like kind of like this person is really interesting. Like this is like sad, but it's like the way she is really interesting to him. And he's like, and he's like basically trying to tell her this, and of course he never does. Whatever. It's
Right,
just
right.
that creates the movie. But great chemistry. Again, I mentioned the Paula Abdul needle drop, but this one might outdo it because it's got Robin's dancing on my own in a viral dance sequence that has gone crazy on social media. I see it everywhere. Like it's people are doing the dance. I think that's kind of what caught this movie on because it's doing really well on Netflix. But I would really recommend checking it out. This is a solid 8 if I'm giving these numbers just for perspective here. The other was a 6. This is an 8. And I just love Zoe Deutsch so much. I think she's so great. She's got a couple other things out right now that I want to check out. She's actually a voice in the Minions and Monsters movie.
Oh wow.
But yeah, yeah, voicemails for Isabel. I'm really excited for whatever Leah McKendrick does. I think I've read that she's doing like a Shania Twain biopic. which is an interesting thing, but it's like
Wow.
a hand-picked thing that happened. And she's really, I've been watching a bunch of her interviews for this movie like this past week once I watched it, and
They're missing
I'm a
a
fan.
beat if the tagline for that movie isn't "Come on, girls."
Yeah, I mean, come on to the theaters, girls. Um, but yeah, like just and it's like also like kind of like a love letter to Austin. Like it makes me want to go to Austin, Texas. Like it's like she's a chef, and the food landscape that the movie kind of focuses on is very fun and enticing, and just yeah, it's a definitely above average rom-com that we've been talking about recently, and one of the better ones that I've seen. Yeah, in a bit, like there's been some great ones that we always talk about on the podcast, for perspective, but this is better than most that I've seen, and I would definitely recommend this one. Again, Voicemails for Isabel on
Mm.
Netflix.
Good to know.
Yeah, that's all I got. Ronald, you got anything you want to throw in there before we wrap it up?
No, nothing I can think of.
Okay.
Can you think of anything?
Honestly, can't.
Are you working? Do we need to reboot you?
I think I am gonna have to reset
Must
myself.
be root. Must reboot.
Must be root.
Cool. All right. Well, the required viewing once again is Badlands, three to $4 rental digitally on all the platforms that you can get rentals online. That'll be our required viewing for next week. Next week, and again, we none of us have seen it, so that'll be fun to talk about that together with you guys for the first time.
Let's hope we come into the next week saying more like Goodlands. Am I right?
More like it. Let's hope. uh, Moviesmovie.com is the website. You can go there to listen to podcast episodes directly on the site or use it as a choice to subscribe to the podcast through your preferred podcast platform. If you also want to check us out on YouTube, we're there, youtube.com/moviesmoviepodcast. You can listen, you can watch full episodes, shorts, Ronald's Home Cut series, which I think new episodes are coming out soon, right? Right, Ronald?
Yeah, one comes out the same day as the pod. The Night of
Perfect.
the Seven Kingdoms review comes out. Yeah,
Great. Yeah, it's locked and loaded. It's ready to go. It's going to be there.
it's there,
Can't wait to watch it.
baby.
And yeah, so we'll be back next week. Thank you so much for listening or watching. And as always, you made our day. Thanks.
Bye.